have fought for centuries to prove that these monsters don't exist. They hoped nature would step in to save us from the theoretical horror of ultimate gravitational collapse. One of our final hopes is the Planck star, a ball of energy at the heart of the black hole, like frozen shards of the Big Bang. Well, let's hope they're real, for physics' sake.
Before we get started, a couple of quick announcements. First, we have some new data. Liking and commenting really does help get the episodes shared. So, please do both of those things. And we've also learned that the number one reason that people support us on Patreon isn't actually the perks. It's simply to support the Spacetime community and the work that we do. So, for those of you who do support, thank you so much. But don't get me wrong, there are perks, and they're good. There's a link in the description if you'd like to join. This really would be a huge help.
Next up, we're excited to announce our Fates of the Universe UV Glow t-shirt and hoodie. Whether you're rooting for the Big Rip, the Big Crunch, or the Big Freeze, you can wear your prediction for the universe's ultimate fate. And thanks to the UV Glow printing, it lights up after sun exposure even in the depths of space. Now, onto the episode. First, there were the dark stars of Mitchell and Laplace, constructed with only Newtonian gravity. These things were gigantic, 500 times the size of the Sun in Mitchell's mind. Happily, they aren't possible. Giant clouds of gas fragment and collapse before a dark star can form. But any matter collapsed far enough will have an event horizon. Those collapsing gas fragments would form black holes themselves if they were not saved by the onset of nuclear fusion as internal temperature and pressure spikes. The resulting outflow of energy counters the gravitational crush, birthing a true star, which saves us from collapse until nuclear fuel runs out. Then the collapse must continue. But happily, not to a black hole. Not yet. At extreme densities, think an entire star crammed into the volume of the Earth, new strange quantum effects come to the rescue. The electrons of the stellar core are crushed until all available quantum states are filled, and they cannot be forced together anymore. The resulting electron degeneracy pressure halts collapse once again, giving us a white dwarf. Nature seems to have stepped in to halt the absurdity of the black hole. So far, so good for our hero physicists. We have Mitchell and Laplace getting us into trouble in the first place with dark stars. Then Arthur Eddington figured out that stellar fusion halts collapse, and it was Ralph Fowler applying the brand new field of quantum mechanics that gave us white dwarfs. But then Subrahmanyan Chandrasekhar came along, and at only 19 years old, on an ocean voyage from India to Cambridge to begin working with Fowler, he proved that even his new boss's white dwarfs have a failure point. For any white dwarf 40% more massive than the Sun, gravitational crush will always exceed the outward electron degeneracy pressure. In fact, by including Einstein's relativity to the quantum descriptions, Chandra found that outward pressure no longer rises fast enough to resist the rising crush as a white dwarf gains mass, leading to runaway collapse. Eddington was famously very annoyed by this result and disputed it. He was convinced that nature must prevent such absurdities as infinite collapse. But Chandra was right about the white dwarf collapse. Maybe Eddington will still be right about the ultimate infinite collapse. There's one last respite for collapsing stellar cores, when physicists realized that electron capture by protons could halt collapse as a neutron star. But the salvation of the stellar core is limited in this case. The more massive the neutron star, the more compact it becomes. For neutron stars over a certain mass, the surface gravity stops light from escaping and the dreaded event horizon forms. And that's it. We've lost our battle to stop black holes. A long time ago, in fact. They are real. We've seen them in their extreme gravitational effects across the universe, and in gravitational waves, and now even in images. They are real, and frankly, I think that's awesome. You might like them too. I mean, you clicked on this episode. So what's this about physicists wanting to avoid the event horizon? Well, people were uncomfortable with the idea of black holes for good reasons, And the best reason emerged in the 70s when Stephen Hawking and others showed that black holes slowly radiate away their mass, shrink, and ultimately vanish. The main problem with this is that all information of everything swallowed by a black hole is deleted in that process. This violates a core tenet of quantum mechanics, information conservation. The other problem with the formation of an event horizon is that there is no known process that can stop matter within it from collapsing into a point of infinite density in the center. This singularity generates plenty of its own problems, not least of which is that in these conditions, the two theories that we use to get this far, quantum mechanics and general relativity, are so conflicted that they can't be simultaneously true. Black holes point to fundamental flaws in our theories of nature. Okay, so even if we couldn't prevent the event horizon, maybe we can at least stop the formation of the theory-breaking singularity. New generations of physicists took up the ancient battle to save us from this theoretical catastrophe. Most believed that the solution must lie in a union of quantum mechanics and general relativity. For example, string theory proposed fuzzballs in which matter unravels into its stringy weave, filling the region beneath the horizon, and we covered that already. Another possible solution is the Planck star. A star of near absolute collapse, supported in the last instant only by the grainy structure of spacetime itself. This comes from what has been called the main competitor of string theory, loop quantum gravity. In LQG, space at the tiniest scales is blocky. In particular, it's built up of quantized 2D area elements whose interplay looks like 3D space on larger scales. And here, larger means anything significantly bigger than the Planck length, around 10 to the minus 35 meters. If LQG is right, then it should give us the same spacetime as described by general relativity on larger scales. And that needs to be true of any quantum gravity theory. But none have been completely worked out, and so there's some guesswork in connecting the Planckian scale to the scale of GR. One way to do that is using so-called semi-classical gravity, which guesses the perturbations to the equations of general relativity as we approach the Planck scale. And this is how Carlo Rovelli and co. got to their first picture of the Planck star. It actually came from an effort to describe what might happen if the entire universe collapsed, like a reverse Big Bang. As densities become extreme enough, LQG predicts a semi-classical correction to the cosmological equations, the Friedmann equations, in which an anti-gravity-like effect emerges, causing the collapse to bounce outwards. This loop quantum cosmology is meant to describe an infinitely expanding and contracting universe, with loopy bounces between cycles. But in 2014, Rovelli and Francesca Vidotto showed how this result for a collapsing universe could also be used to approximate the end result of the collapsing star inside a black hole. At a certain point, outward quantum pressure causes it to bounce. In a way, it's analogous to the quantum degeneracy pressures that stopped our white dwarf and neutron stars from collapsing further. In that case, it was quantum particles unable to occupy the same energy levels. But with the Planck star, it's the quantum elements of spacetime itself doing the work. If LQG is right, this could handily stop the wicked singularity from ever forming. For a collapsing sun-mass star, the resulting object would be about 1/1 trillionth of a meter. That's small, but it's not point-like. It's not a singularity. In fact, it's 23 orders of magnitude larger than the Planck scale, so relatively gigantic. This ultra-compressed ball of matter is the Planck star that we've been teasing. The thing about Planck stars is that they shouldn't last for long, at least in this semi-classical description given back in 2014. The same spacetime pressure that stops collapse also triggers catastrophic rebound. Now, a similar thing happens when the core of a massive star is halted by the formation of a neutron star. The rest of the star explodes outwards as a supernova. But in the case of the Planck star, the resulting rebound is a white hole. Basically, the opposite of a black hole, the time reversal. Space and the energy it contains rushing outwards, and an event horizon that reverses its direction. All of this takes place in about the time it takes light to cross the size of the Planck star. which is a tiny fraction of a second. So it sounds like our Planck star only exists for an instant after the black hole formation before exploding outwards. But in that case, why do we still see black holes out there? And why don't we see the flashes of extreme energy expected when a white hole forms? Maybe you've seen the film Interstellar and you remember that time close to a black hole event horizon slows down from the point of view those waiting for Matthew McConaughey back on Earth. Hours can translate to years. Well, imagine how strong that gravitational time dilation would be from deep below the event horizon. Strong. A rebounding Planck star would appear frozen in that state for billions of years for anyone but the Planck star. So there you have it. Ultimate gravitational collapse foiled again in a 10 to the minus 12 meter wide ball of energy that looks like the universe as it was essentially at the Big Bang. But at least it's not point-like or even actually Planck scale. But we're not quite safe yet. The description I just gave you of the Planck star is over a decade old. It involves some serious approximations. The quantum gravity effects were approximated as a modification to the standard equations of general relativity. And the collapsing star was approximated as a collapsing universe, which really means that its matter was smooth and infinitely extended, not really what a collapsing star looks like. Nonetheless, yet again, we have a mechanism by which the collapse is halted, reaching the theoretical unpleasantness of the singularity. And in 2024, Rovelli and Vedotti updated the picture to describe what the Planck star eventually evolves into. Let's zoom back out to the event horizon again. With the interior Planck star frozen by time dilation, the event horizon itself slowly shrinks as it leaks Hawking radiation. Remember that this is a problem if it causes the black hole to vanish and take its precious quantum information with it. Now, just as loop quantum gravity arrests the Planck star collapse, it also stops the final stage of evaporation of the event horizon. In essence, the surface area of the horizon becomes quantized and can't decay any further. That leaves us with a Planck relic, a Planck length event horizon that's stuck that way forever. And these are actually a possible prediction of quantum gravity in general, and of course we've talked about them before. But what about the frozen Planck star within that Planck relic event horizon? Now remember that the internal Planck star was much bigger than a Planck length, so trillions of times bigger than the Planck relic that's supposed to contain it. But this is actually what happens. Just as time dilation freezes the Planck star rebound, the enormous stretching of space within that near point-like event horizon holds a Planck star a trillion times larger. But the weirdness doesn't end there. As the shrinking event horizon approaches the Planck scale, it is subject to strong quantum effects. And one of those is the possibility of quantum tunneling from the black hole state into the white hole state. That same white hole can also transition back into a black hole, and the cycle can repeat indefinitely, leaving our Planck relic and the star it contains in a quantum superposition of black hole and white hole simultaneously. Okay, we've come a long way since the gigantic dark stars of centuries ago. Now, nature seems pretty intent on forming event horizons, but maybe we could narrowly avoid the singularity. If we follow the path of loop quantum gravity, the final stage of collapse may be simultaneously near point like a knot, flickering eternally between being about to explode and about to collapse. As an added bonus, quantum information is preserved in the relatively gigantic pocket within that infinitesimal speck. Oh, and these things might explain dark matter too, but that would require a terrifyingly large number of these balls of Big Bang energy locked like genies in moats of frozen space-time. Thank you to Displate for supporting PBS. Displate posters are vibrant, high-resolution metal prints, including thousands of images of space and science. And if you love the engineering of space exploration, Displate offers their collection of the real images from NASA. They have high-resolution images from the Artemis launch, as well as designs inspired by JWST and Voyager. They also have famous ship designs from the worlds of Star Wars and Destiny, as well as other properties like Star Trek, Marvel, and Interstellar. Some feature Displate's Textra 3D posters with textured surfaces, colouring, and selective gloss. Each one attaches with an included bagnet kit. No drilling, no holes, which works for owners or renters. If
money to the extent there are any remaining funds after I pay my attorney's fees. I have agreed to pay the remaining funds to the clients.
And Denims is
absolute blowout. Total domination.
ready to take this to trial, ready to take this all the way. But we've always been waiting on Frogan and what she's going to do. There was a lot of speculation about Frogan, thinking she might settle, much in the same way of Casey Tron, while some were saying she was dedicated to fighting this to the end like Denims, and she was a true warrior. Well, we now have figured out exactly what's going to happen, and that is she is going to default on this case. And that's because today we have filed in the U.S. District Court, the Central District for California, we had filed a request for default judgment against defendant Morgan Kamal Majid. That is exactly Frogan in this case.
She was AFK?
So what is a motion for default judgment? That's a motion essentially saying, hey, they haven't responded. They've passed the deadlines. So now we're going to assume liability. So once this is accepted by the court and approved by the court, liability is completely on Frogan. She gives up the fair use defense. She can no longer argue the law. All of that is out. The only thing left after this is damages. So you can argue over damages. So she would have a chance to speak up and say, no, the damages aren't that much, or let's argue over the damages.
She just buried her head in the sand.
The trial is over. It's done. She's lost after this point. So let's
she's done. All right.
Through the facts to figure out exactly how bad this was and how much Frogan did not put up a fight. But before we move on, there's an important message.
That is hilarious.
Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms.
Yeah, I think they made kids retarded or something. There was like an ad on the radio for this.
They knew their apps could contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The recent historic verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. If you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health struggles, you should hear this. Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. You can use the link in my description or scan the QR code to take a short quiz to see if you qualify for a case. You may be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000.
You get a free $1,000.
Here we have in the same motion,
it's pretty good.
Filed saying plaintiff TED Entertainment hereby requests the clerk enter default in this matter against defendant Morgan Kamal Majid, PKA Frogan, on the grounds that the defendant has failed to appear or otherwise respond to the complaint within the time prescribed by the federal rules of procedure. Now, understand, this is not asking much. All that will be required is a very simple filing. She could have told her lawyer, hey, I'm on a budget. Hey, I don't want to spend that much money. Hey, try to keep this to just a one-pager, the bare bones. Let's just give a basic complaint response so we don't default. They could have kept that to a minimum amount.
I feel like they're probably going to give Ethan a lot of money because, I feel like the courts... I mean, this is kind of almost like contempt of court, isn't it? I mean, if you just go out and you don't even respond to what's against you, I feel like that's really bad.
Can tell your lawyer, hey, keep this cheap, just the bare minimum. I want to delay this. I want to try to push this off.
She served a year ago?
That's definitely something you could tell their lawyer, but they didn't even give that. And they've had almost a year at this point. So since August of last year.
That's a long time ago.
So this was filed, of course, June 19th of last year. July 17th of last year, Frogan got the complaint.
Right.
And on August 5th of last year, they had a joint stipulation to extend her deadline from August to October and also give her time for these filings. Since then, they also engaged in settlement negotiations. Now, the counsel for both sides can't talk about the details of settlement negotiation. However, I would like to speculate here, if I may.
Exciting.
And I would like to say that they probably did the bare minimum in negotiation to make it kick down the line, to just take this and extend this out as far as possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't come up with an agreeable settlement. And I think during this period of time, Frogan was looking at Casey Tron and her settlement. And she was thinking, hey, look, if I settle, I'm going to have to give all of my legal defense fund over to Ethan Klein. And instead of doing that, let me kick this down the can and use those funds for my Big Macs. Yes, the giant mountain of Big Macs that we can all see Frogan chowing down on. Let's use that for the Big Mac fund over this period of time. And as I whittle this down, we'll eventually just not ignore it, whatever else. And hey, maybe this will go away. And maybe she got advice that it'd be totally okay for her to just ignore this and default. Maybe she got somebody whispering in her ear, yeah, forget about it. He's not actually going to go after you, or it's going to look bad, or you're going to become some sort of sob story. Well, that's not the case. The court, of course, at this point, had every right to enter into a default judgment, which is what they're requesting. So they informed them on April 20th that they intended to proceed with litigation, gave her 3 weeks, and their deadline to respond was May 11th. That did not come. That day came and gone. And now, boom, we're at default judgment territory. Now, how is this not a scam? Because if we look at her legal defense fund, her lawsuit defense fund on GiveSendGo, she raised almost $40,000, $38,756.
So how is it a legal defense fund if you didn't even defend yourself? Yeah, no, that's a good point. You're right. Yeah. Like, she didn't even do anything. She just sat there as like, yeah, I guess. I mean, Jesus, take the wheel. And then you just lose. So she just took the money. Wow.
$6, including donations that were running up to this day. She was getting donations very
Somebody gave her $73 a month ago. And now
that were coming into her fund. So she's still out there grifting for her legal defense, despite the fact that she hasn't really used this for legal defense. Really, there's been no filings on her part, significant filings, over almost a year. Since August of last year, she really hasn't done anything. So what's going on? Where did all this money go? Didn't she have to use that for legal funds? Well, I called this out last year, and I am proven absolutely right yet again that she tucked some weasel words in here so she didn't get hit with scamming or fraud allegations.
Personal or any other, it says any other bills or personal expenses from lost wages and damages arising from this litigation. So this is, weasel, exactly.
So if we turn back to the actual language that she tucked into that GiveSendGo legal defense fund, you can see it says here, this fundraiser is to cover any and all legal fees associated with his complaint. Talking about Ethan Klein. Any counterclaims I may have against him, well, she can't file any counterclaims if she defaults. That's totally gone. So that's some BS to begin with.
Yep.
And then saying any other bills and personal expenses from lost wages and damages arising from this litigation. So her whole horse is going to be bet on personal expenses and bills. So she used this for
She's
rent.
not like, dude, she's going to get away with this. She's going to get every single Big Mac that she could ever want. This is infinite hamburgers. Think about that.
She used this once again for the Big Mac fund, chowing down on Cheetos, fried chicken, whatever else she did. But I mean, she was not using this for this fund. And because of that, she's able to say, hey, I didn't scam you because I put personal expenses in there. So you can't sue me. You guys can't come back and say I defrauded you because, hey, I disclosed this could be my personal expenses. Wow. So in judgment here, looking at this, I absolutely believe that she clearly used this for her personal expenses chiefly. Because she really didn't do anything in this lawsuit significantly, her legal bills are probably
like, I'd say $3,000, right?
More than a couple $1,000s in this. over totaling based on what she did. She really didn't have to spend more than that for what she's done so far. It really isn't that expensive to just, go and have settlement negotiations, do some.
It's expensive to do one of these lawsuits. It is. There's a lot of money that goes into it. I know.
Bones work, etc., and not even filing a response, a basic short 1-2 page response, something very simple, is absolutely disgraceful, having put up a legal defense fund, not even putting up a fight, not even taking this to summary judgment or a further stage where she could try to make an attempt to argue the law, try to do what Denims did. She's not even gone as far as Denims, right? Denims at least shown, hey, she's willing to put up some level of fight in this. She hasn't even.
Well, here's the reason why Denims can do that. It's because Denims gets like at least a couple thousand viewers, and she has OnlyFans. So she's getting dudes to give her money. Like, Frogan doesn't have anybody watching her, and she doesn't have anything like that. So really, I mean, Frogan doesn't, I mean, it's a sitting duck. I mean, she can't do anything about it. Yeah, I mean, she's just gonna get there and get got. Rising star? Well, this seems more like a black hole. You put your money into it, it's gone forever.
Frogan has been sitting in her room, not doing anything with this. And if you look at the actual liability, it's going to be large. It's going to be over 200K. Likely the statutory damages alone are up to 150K, and that doesn't include any of Frogan's profits or any of Ethan's lost revenue. So if they're able to cobble together 50 or 100,
dude, no way. Oh my God.
100K of lost profits or Frogan's revenue, something like that, as well as attorney's fees, because Ethan can tack his attorney's fees onto this.
Oh my God, I forgot all about this. Yes, of course, because now if she default loses, then also he can have her pay for the fee. Oh fuck. Because that's where the real that's the extra. Like, how much did Ethan spend on this legal suit? Probably, if I had to guess, I don't know, like 50, 80K, something like that. Like, yeah, I'd say like 100K. I feel like maybe, I think that it might be a little bit less, because I think he knows the people that he's working with, so they might have given him a better deal. But like, I mean, it's a lot of money. He won't get anything from her. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Certainly is going to be expensive, because we all know that Ethan has the best lawyers on this that are very expensive. That's certainly going to get over 200K. So we're looking at a 6-figure amount. That's going to be a lot for Frogan, for someone who is constantly begging for money and saying she's broke. So what do I think her strategy is? I think it's to declare personal bankruptcy.
Oh, chapter
I think her
13.
strategy all along has been to deplete these funds. So even if Ethan Klein wins, she can say, hey, that fund is empty. I already drained that fund. So you can't get anything from that.
So she already ate all the hamburgers, so Ethan can't get any hamburgers out of her because they're all gone. I mean, but $40,000 of hamburgers? There's no way. That's an insane amount of money.
And I am personally broke. She will declare bankruptcy after the judgment.
That's a lot.
So, hey, you're not going to get anything from me. So I think that's her strategy. Now, that doesn't always work out. In some cases, there can still be liability attached. Now, that's going to be up for Ethan Klein to figure out that and fight that battle. But I think that's going to be her strategy in all of this. But without a doubt, we can say that Frogan ate it all. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Wow. Oh, my God. So this is it. She truly does believe in eat the rich. Oh, my God. She... I love Andrew. And his videos are so good. Freaking ate her legal defense fund. Oh, my God. There's the video. Give it a like. Why is my name pink? Why is my name pink in chat? What the fuck happened? Oh my God, she's toast. It's actually rough. I know. And a Michigan town voted 4-1 against an AI center. The company sued for billions. The town couldn't fight it. The project is moving forward anyway. Really? That's crazy. Well, anyway, so yeah, Frogan ate her legal defense fund. Oh my God. And it's sad to see. It really is. But I think that, you know, you do something like this, you go and take everybody's money. I mean, I don't have any sympathy for her. I don't, because she literally is a terrorism supporter. Like, she's a person that literally supports terrorism. So that's what you get. I mean, really, you shouldn't have supported terrorism. I think that's a really bad, like, of things to do, like, terrorism support is really bad. Off topic, you go to Taco Bell, get Mountain Dew. Like, I get it sometimes, but it's rare, right? And so that's it. In dark mode, your name's Orange. Okay, good. She's cooked. She'll eat it, I guess, right? I wonder how much they're going to default against her. And I wonder if they can garnish her wages, too. Because, like, I mean, you usually can't, because she doesn't make any fucking money. So it's basically like everything is perfectly created. So there is no, like, basically she's so much of a loser that she can't lose. That's really where we're at. She's crashed out so hard that she can't, like, there's not even any accountability for it. I think it's actually kind of funny.
Welcome back to a series so juiced, even Baki subscribed in today's video. Welcome back to a series so deep, even Subnautica 2 subscribed in today's video. Female Hassan, aka Denims, is absolutely crashing out at Shuonhead and VTuber Smugalana. This is after they made fun of her god and savior Hassan. She starts mocking Smugalana's voice in the most insufferable way and says that it's torture to listen to her. She then gets triggered when they make fun of Hassan shocking his dog, and she tries to choke her through the screen. Holy mental illness. Some chatters start trolling her for her OnlyFans, and she starts coping hard. She talks about how men love it when you can buy them a PS5 with OnlyFans money. They also love when their wife isn't naked online, but you do you. Hassan is once again losing his mind over Asmongold, calling him irrelevant. Back to regularly scheduled programming. He crashes out at a random Twitter reply guy and blames it on Israel. Oh, brother! Asmongold is calling out Hassan for leading people to the alt-right. Asmon is beefing with a random YouTuber who got triggered over his tweets and tried to make personal insults. The video has backfired big time. Professional cuckload Sneeko has successfully fooled TikTokers into thinking he's woke. Actually tragic. Smash like or you get the same IQ points as Denims. It's in the negatives, you're cocked. Now let's begin. Right, welcome back everybody. So apparently, female Hassan, aka Denims, is losing her mind at Shuonhead and Smug Alana. Apparently, the White Knight here is desperately trying to defend her god and savior Hassan. Now, just a reminder, this girl actually wanted to fuck Destiny at one point.
When Denims calls me a Destiny Orbiter, just remember, it really sucks that we didn't Wait, are you actually serious? No, on good terms with who? Atlas. I wanted to fuck Atlas and you.
So it seems like once you get rejected by one degenerate, you just sort of latch onto another. Right, here we go. Denims mocks Smug Alana and Shuonhead while reacting to Shu's video.
Imagine being that chatter. Like, hey, Hassan, did you...
Oh my god, dude. I am becoming a misogynist. I'm becoming a misogynist.
You check out this video? Do you want me?
Ooh, look at me. I'm an emo girl.
Dude, I feel like a... Is this how sexist people feel? Is this how misogynists feel? It's like, can you speak at a pitch that isn't annoying to listen to? Oh my god. This is what I mean. When people come in and they're like, you sound like a man. I'm like, listen, I have always thought women with deep voices sound sexy as hell. And I love listening to a bad bitch with a deep ass voice. So I've always thought, oh, thank goodness. Phew. And I've always been worried that I sound like high pitched and squeaky. Because that shit's annoying to listen to sometimes, man. Oh my God.
And I
like, depending on the subject, like, God forbid!
Oh my God, stop molesting my ears, man.
You disagree with Hassan Piker, the arbiter.
Oh my God, I figured it out. She sounds like female Nux Taku. It's not so much that it's a woman voice, it's that she sounds like a woman version of Nux Taku. That's why it's so fucking annoying. Listen to this.
That he frames having nuanced opinions, like, depending on the subject. Like, God forbid you disagree with Hassan Piker.
Right, so she really thought that she did something there, that she was actually hilarious. I mean, I don't really see the problem she's talking about. She sounds fine to me. In fact, it's a pretty unique voice as well, so again, I don't see the problem. It's definitely more entertaining than whatever the fuck you got going on. Also, I don't know, man, making fun of someone's voice, that's not very woke, I'd say. And I feel like this is a standard procedure for the Hassan orbiters, right? On one hand, they're supposed to be the woke squad, right? The empathetic squad, arbiters of morality. But the second you disagree with them, they always, every single time, will suddenly turn into the biggest bigots imaginable, right? They will try to mock your voice, talk down to you as a woman, say that you're only fat material, all this sort of mean-spirited nonsense that completely goes against what they were preaching about 5 seconds ago, right? And even Hassan does this to, you know, basically every group, as we know.
fuck this South Vietnamese. You are fucking cancer, okay? You don't understand black people. Shut the fuck up, you fucking bloodthirsty, violent pig dog.
I mean, I love when these situations happen because they basically just expose these people as complete frauds who will abandon all of their principles in order to get a quick own on somebody they dislike. And I just want to point out that Denims in particular is an absolute witch, okay? She's probably the worst Hassan orbiter. Now, debatable, all right? There's some pretty heinous people in there, but someone justifying kids getting trauma because they don't form memories at 3 years old, it is just completely heinous.
You're not forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old.
I think female Hassan is an apt nickname because she is that bad. So then she says that it's torture to listen to Alana, and she gets very triggered when she starts making fun of Hassan shocking his dog.
Is this what, like, IDF members use to torture Palestinians? It's gotta be, man. This must be the shit that they're playing, man. It's so bad.
Who used chain lightning on his dog live on stream in front of thousands of people and then lied about it and gaslit everybody, thinks that anyone else needs to be embarrassed about anything. Like, you've spent your entire career, the better part of a decade plus, being a political commentator. But
I totally understand how people hate women. I totally understand. Totally get it. Totally understand. I didn't understand prior to this video. I get it now. Can you imagine you come home from your fucking job, which you fucking hate? You're like, oh boy, I don't have a terrible time at work today. And it's like the have a terrible time at work today factory. And then you come home to this bitch wife complaining and being like, and then you'll never believe it. I saw this video of Hassan Piker and he was talking about you on it. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like literally just close your mouth and never open it ever until you fix how you sound. Please! Oh my god!
Oh my god, dude. What the fuck? Like, are you good? I mean, that is a complete psycho response. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but she sounds like she actually wants to murder her. I mean, she's making that, like, expression. Why are you moving your hands like that? It seems like you want to squeeze the life out of her because you're apparently that annoyed with her voice. Yo, somebody put this chick on a list, honestly. I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if she was a closet psychopath, right? Someone who worships Hassan to this extent probably has some insane skeletons in her closet. And let me just state for the record, I think listening to Denims is way more torture than any of these people. And it's not because of her voice, it's because the things she say are so unbelievably fucking dumb. You could actually contract the stupid from the screen. In fact, there should be a warning before any Denims clip. It is dangerous to watch her. In fact, all of us are taking a risk right now by consuming this content because it can drastically drop your IQ points. And I don't really know why she's so particularly mad. Maybe she saw some other content from these creators and just branded them as, okay, my political enemies, so I'm going to be as heinous as possible. But I also think that she's just jealous, right? Because these are two girls, right? Two women who are more popular than you, more successful than you, and they didn't have to get naked on the internet for it, right? They didn't have to completely sell their soul. They didn't have to try and fuck Destiny. They didn't have to try to suck up to Hassan either. So they actually managed to make a career for themselves without relying on, you know, selling your body and stuff like that. So I guess it sucks to suck. It probably, you know, really hits home, you know, just being such a colossal failure of a person herself. It must be tough. And I really wonder how they have the gall to still like react to videos and stuff when you have that lawsuit going on. Like, I'd be fucking terrified. But apparently she thinks she's gonna win, right? She had that whole barcode that she showed that got completely debunked. Right, so apparently some people went into her chat to troll her. She calls them shoe-on head stands. I don't think they are. I don't know exactly, but it's definitely denim haters.
The only thing that the majority of the internet knows you for is f***ing zapping your dog for stepping off its 4 square foot cot that you've designated for it. That's your f***ing legacy, Hassan.
Also, not that it matters, but that's not irony. Did we piss you off that much in the last stream? Can you imagine watching this whole thing? Can you imagine watching female Noxtaku be like, yeah, you look like the parrot, and yeah, that's it, you're so right too. Can you imagine that's your streamer, man? Fuck me, dude. At least your guys' streamer just like does CPS or whatever that means. They're saying R word like they're the slur slinging slasher and talking about parrots. Like, people who spend the entire video being like, we're so smart, he's a biker, he's so dumb. It's like, it's not even fucking, that's not even what irony is, dude. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. Jesus. I can't, I'm literally becoming a misogynist because of how this woman sounds. Sorry, the shoe-on head stands or whatever here. Imagine selling your vagina online for $10. Better than having a wife who sells her body online to simps. Are you kidding me? I would much rather have a wife who people pay to be beautiful.
Wow. I mean, just wow. The mental gymnastics there. So what a wonderful way of characterizing her profession as an online eho, right? An OnlyFans girl. What's your job? Oh, you know, people pay me to be beautiful. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Oh, my God. So you're like a fashion model, right? Wow. That's so cool. That's so cool. Oh, no. I actually get naked on the internet for $5 and have men jack off to me while I actually message them how I actually truly love them, of course. Right. Yeah. Same thing for sure. By the way, I always find it so hilarious and hypocritical that, you know, these type of people like, you know, Denims, Casey Tron, and even Hassan, for instance, they all have this vocabulary of, oh yeah, anybody who hates me is actually an incel, right? All the people that hate me are incels. And the fact of the matter is, that's your entire fan base. They are the people who are funding your lifestyle. They are the people. Who do you think is buying your OnlyFans, you fucking degenerate? I mean, we all know why you're lashing out, all right? Your life sucks. Your entire family probably disowned you, probably hates you for desecrating their name. Your life is a complete joke. You're completely worthless in every way possible. I mean, it's clear as day that you hate yourself, and it's apparent from the way you conduct yourself online. You will never be taken seriously for as long as you exist. You will forever be known as the female Hassan who tried to f Destiny. I mean, what wonderful legacies the Hassan orbiters have. We got the dog shocker. We got the girl who tried to get with Destiny. We got Mr. Stoic Empathy Man who's begging for a trial by combat now to not get financially ruined. I mean, it's lovely. Right, so then she starts coping hard about her OnlyFans and how men actually love getting a PS5 as a gift.
They literally pay her because she's beautiful, then have a wife that sounds anything remotely like this. Have a beautiful wife that buys you PS5s and buys you RAM at obscene prices, or have this creature speak to you. I don't think that that's that hard. I don't think that that's that difficult of a choice. I think I know what I would pick. Dude, like, just stop. That's enough. I can't. That was it. That was it for my cringe radar. My cringe limit has been reached. I cannot watch more. I cannot watch anymore. I was able to handle almost all of that. Although we skipped basically throughout most of the video. We're good. Her husband needs to hire a priest to exorcise that bitch. Dude, for real, man. There must be some, like, demonic entity within that woman.
Whoa, hold up, all right? Demonic entity. How the fuck are you talking? The woman who does not have empathy for 3-year-old children is talking about demons. You're the flippin' demon. Isn't it supposed to be like baked into your personality to care about children or something? I feel like most women are pretty empathetic towards children. In fact, the entire human race is pretty empathetic towards children. I'd say somebody who isn't is pretty much a demon. I mean, your name is pretty close. Denim's the demon, you know, kind of has a ring to it. And oh my god, the terminal copium. Guys, why wouldn't you want a wife that buys you a PS5? All right, somebody is so unbelievably triggered. Now, sorry to break it to you, Denims, but most men don't actually want a wife that shows herself naked to other men online for them to jack off to for $5, right? Because it's a pretty basic requirement, you know? It shows that you have some level of self-respect, that you don't consider yourself worthless, that you actually value intimacy and your body. Not to mention, it's insanely disrespectful to your partner and to yourself. Also, how delusional can you be? You know you can buy a PS5 using other jobs. It's not only OnlyFans girls who can afford PS5s. That isn't the only path in life. Just because you took that path because you were absolutely dog shit at every single thing you tried in life, I mean, doesn't mean other women have to. Also, probably your mans could buy the PS5, except you're probably dating some bum, yeah, to be honest, because no good man would ever blink in your direction because you're a hoe. You sell your body online. You're disgusting. You're degenerate. Your views are degenerate. You're an evil person, a Hassan orbiter. And I don't know. I wouldn't really flex about my wealth right now because I don't know, honestly, if you could afford a PS5 now. Aren't you going broke from the Ethan lawsuit? If you're so rich, why are you begging for money from the public with GoFundMes? Oh, does that mean you're scamming your fans again? That you can actually afford it, but you're still begging for money? I don't know. Whatever it is, according to Ethan, you're already 50K down, and it's just going to get worse and worse. That's a lot of PS5s. Right, so Smuggalana responded with the shoe on head meme. Unsolicited opinions from online prostitutes. Absolute cinema. And yeah, you should never be listening to one of these clowns. They just have the worst opinions every time. She said a lot of things, but she didn't say you were wrong. People who get their political views from denims. So I have to choose between Alana or a woman that sells nudes online. You drive a hard bargain. The old ad hominems like Hassan and Casey Tron. Your voice isn't even annoying. What is she blabbering about? I don't know. She probably thought it was like an easy dig or something. The whole chain lightning description buildup was like a magnum opus. That stream was one of the funniest things this entire year. Your voice is great and gives off tomboy energy, which thoughts can't fathom. In fact, her voice is annoying to listen to by comparison. Omega insecurity. I actually like your voice. Denims is one to talk considering everything she says sounds smug, sarcastic, or bitchy. Every clip I see featuring her is insufferable. Denims is so repulsive, my soul cringes whenever I come across clips of her. Denims is resting derp face, excited derp face, mad derp face. Never seen anyone who looks derpy this derpy in my life. Hassan is known as the guy that shocked his dog, while Denims is going to be known as the hoe that got sued by Ethan. It appears we got a Denims defender. Talking about Alana, she's an online hoe as well. She's a VTuber who depends on Sims for a living like every other woman online. Yeah, you're totally sane, pal. Only difference is she doesn't have the face or body to do it in any capacity other than being a cartoon. Yeah, you're definitely sub to Denim's OnlyFans, aren't you? Moving on to Hassan crashing out over Asmongold. There's only 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Hassan crashing out at Asmongold. It's another day that ends in Y. So anyways, Looney Tunes is back at it again, and he's saying Asmon has no political motion and doesn't go outside. Hassan calls out Destiny, Asmongold, and a Destiny Orbiter Twitter account, says they're politically irrelevant, brings up Israel, of course. Right, so he got rage baited by a 38-month subscriber. I kind of disagree with you, though, on Roach, so that's just how they refer to Asmongold, because eventually he will have to face his opposition, or else his political influence will fizzle out. He can't hide forever. But don't you think that some of the reactionary influencers like Roach won't progress their movement politically until they take the next step and face their political opposition? You can't just sit in your room. You won't be taken seriously. I mean, this isn't even that bad. He's kind of supporting Hassan here.
Asmongold is going to fucking go outside? You think he gives a shit about a political movement? Everything that my naysayers say about me, including the Asmongold fan base, is literally 100% correct for Asmongold. A guy who never actually leaves his home, a guy who doesn't actually have any fucking skin in the game, a guy who doesn't actually give a fuck about politics at all, but is simply farming morons. That's what he's doing. It's ironic because his fans and Sex Pestini's fans say that about me. The only guy between us three who actually does have skin in the game, who doesn't just like try to farm out a personal slush fund for himself, who will do a couple door knocking operations and then use that personal slush fund to attack their online enemies over and over again and nothing else. Like, there's a reason why I don't talk about either of these two fools as much as they talk about me. Okay? It's because I'm invested in some serious shit. I want to make changes in this goddamn country. Okay? There's also a reason why I'm politically relevant and those people are politically irrelevant, right?
Buddy, I mean, I hate to break it to you, dude. Like, I hate to do this, but I gotta point out, Asmon is way more politically relevant than you. Like, by virtue of being 10 times more popular, I think you can say he's more relevant, right? Now, you can say your views are better, that you think your politics are better, that he's the worst, or he's racist, MAGA, Nazi, all this stuff. But you can't say he's less relevant than you, because then you're just not living in reality. You're just smoking crack. And I think it really hits hard because despite Hassan making politics his entire life, despite him bringing it up at the dinner table, despite him scrolling while taking a fucking shit, despite him unable to enjoy anime or gaming without thinking about politics, I mean, imagine doing one thing in life and still failing at it. That's gotta be diabolical. And Asmon is doing the shit while like gaming on the side and doing a bunch of other things. Like, you're just getting bodied, bro. I think it's time to give it a rest. You know, pick another opponent, pick on someone your own size, pick on a slop tuber. You know, I mean, you already do that. But you know, someone you actually have a chance to beat. But like, this is just a bloodbath. It's embarrassing for you. And he also says that Asmon is actually, you know, grifting. He doesn't care about anything he's talking about. That he's not from the working class or whatever. He goes on a rant on how he's like a multi-millionaire or whatever. And you know, let's say all of that is true. He's a grifting LARPer. Then what the fuck are you, dog? Bro, you're the biggest champagne socialist in existence. I mean, I just never understand how he says these statements without being aware of the unbelievable hypocrisy. Like, he has to turn off his stream and look in the mirror and start laughing to himself like a maniacal freak. There's no other explanation. Anyways, so then he starts crashing out at a random Twitter account, reply guy. Basically, it all started here. Hassan was doing an interview for an LA mayoral candidate. Hassan put the LA mayoral candidate and DSA member through a full-on struggle session over her record, repeatedly pressing her to explain where she had fallen short of the movement line. So we got this guy saying, Lamau, Hassan had a LA mayoral candidate on and asked a bunch of Israel-Palestine questions. She responds that the mayor of LA doesn't really affect that issue, and his chat had to go into emote-only mode because of the hate and vitriol. When's the last time that happened again? Oh yeah, it's when his chat was spamming hearts for a terrorist. Classic Hassan.
His chat had to go to emote-only mode because of the hatred and vitriol. Like, this guy is Israel first, okay? Ben Shapiro's biceps is an Israel first sex pestiny orbiter, just a fucking repulsive figure, okay? Just an unbelievably repulsive figure whose movement has died so fucking hard that there's not even like the fandoms that he represents is gone, okay? It has perished. There's no real world example for this kind of politics, like an Israel first liberal Democrat who also is you know, I guess joking about Ben Shapiro's biceps.
Right. Okay, listen, I don't know anything about this guy. It seems like he's just a random like Twitter reply guy or whatever, but I do find it interesting that Hassan somehow manages to make every single issue possible about Israel. It's truly a legendary tactic. He's so fucking deluded that he thinks that the only issue that matters in this entire world is Israel. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's talking about the mayor of LA. What the fuck do you want them to do, dog? Like, shouldn't the mayor of LA focus on issues in LA? Like, is that controversial to say? Did I just get political there, guys? Oh my god. I mean, you gotta be completely brain damaged to think that the mayor of LA should focus on, like, international issues. Like, look at the fucking title of the job, dog. Like, probably fix LA, right? Like, dude, you'd want the person you voted for in your city to care about the city first and put the city first, right? The people of the city first. But of course, Hassan is such a colossal fucking regard, and his fan base is now so supercharged on this one issue that it's the only thing they're interested in. And I mean, it's insane, like, how much he's grifted off this war, right? It's literally been several years now, and this fucking regard is still using it. Remember, guys, Israel shocked his dog. These people are brain dead. Foreign policy isn't even the top 10 issues of California voters. What the actual fuck is the mayor of LA going to do to fix the issue between Israel and Palestine? These people are unserious. Funny how his chat goes into emote only mode every single time one of these loaded questions comes from Hassan during one of these interviews. Probably because he knows that no other candidate would ever go onto his stream once they say the type of vitriolic bullshit that's being typed in his chat, right? Palestine, what do you think of Palestine, Miss Mayor? No, I know you're the mayor of LA, but Palestine. She kind of ended her own campaign by going on Hassan Piker, relying only on dumb voters and progressive socialist communist voters. I mean, I will say I kind of warned everybody about this, that if you're gonna go and associate yourself with Hassan, it's not gonna end well. Like, you're just not gonna have some positive support. The only support you're getting is from literal wannabe terrorists. I'm confused. How's Israel-Palestine round number 400 related to my bins getting picked up, my kids having good schooling, housing being increased, and the potholes being filled? Anyways, the Twitter person responded, "Hey Hassan, while you're crying about a former fan of yours, why not finally delete this tweet where you full-on lied about Swan Marcus because your audience is too captured and stupid and will hang on your every word." It's basically a tweet where he actually got the entire person wrong. Hassan slandering someone looks like another Tuesday. Guy who doesn't know who Dylan Burns is somehow recognizes small lib Twitter users. Strange. Talking about Asman here. Yeah, bro.
Ilhan Omar named and shocking new claim. Oh my god.
Now to the Trump administration's war on fraud, which could also come up in today's press briefing with the vice president and fraud czar, J.D. Vance. The convicted mastermind behind Minnesota's Feeding Our Future $250 million fraud scheme is set to be sentenced this week.
Good.
The Justice Department wants Amy Bach to spend 50 years behind bars, saying this, that she, quote, took advantage of a once-in-a-century global pandemic.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This
like
is
the sound
Outnumbered.
of that.
I'm Emily Campagno, here with my co-host, Kaylee McEnany, and also joining us today, Cheryl Casoni, Fox Business anchor and host of American Dream Home, Kennedy, the host of the Kennedy's Clarence Thomas. Now, the mastermind's defense team says that she should get credit for handing over documents that helped convict her co-conspirators. They're hoping for about 3 years in jail. Before she was convicted, Amy Bach told Fox News that state officials, like Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison, probably knew what was going on the whole time.
Of course they did.
I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware. But apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything. I don't know. I have to believe they were aware. And again, if they weren't,
I bet they were.
Shame on them for having a system that their lower level staff don't bring something of this level to their attention.
They knew it.
Now, Bach has also implicated Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, whose name appeared in emails and texts during her trial. Bach tells the New York Post that she, quote, struggles to believe that Omar didn't know what was happening in her district.
I feel like it's so obvious that she knew. It's so obvious. Like, I mean, really, what are we doing?
She told Fox something similar. Watch.
I don't know what she knew. I don't know. I know that I was duped by a number of people. We also have seen videos of Safari Restaurant giving out thousands of meals, pallets and pallets of food being distributed. Was there fraud? According to the DOJ and the FBI, yes. According to the jury verdict, yes. But how much?
A lot.
And why don't we know that? There's just so many holes and gaps in these cases. Ilhan Omar visited those sites. Why didn't the FBI?
Good question.
John, I feel like rarely do we get so many statements coming out of a defendant's mouth, right?
That's
and this
a lot.
is really interesting that she's
roaching out.
essentially saying that part of the prosecution's case against the whole institution writ large, which is new or should have known. But here it seems like there's a lot of known. What is your take on both sides of this issue here that she faces in court?
For sure, she's trying to get a lower sentence, so she's trying to cooperate with the government.
Yep, she's
and
snitching.
The prosecutors should be taking advantage of this to see if this is a broader conspiracy. It seems hard to believe that $250 million were stolen by the federal government.
And nobody even
no
knew.
one else knew about
Exactly.
it in Minneapolis.
Bullshit.
That's one. Second, as I learned on Kaylee's show last weekend, some of this money has possibly ended up in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia. If that's true, this is not just Medicare, Medicaid fraud. This is a counterterrorism investigation with much higher sentences and much longer, much more money involved, much greater powers on the part of the government to.
No, I mean, it's obviously what's going on. I mean, you could easily say that. It's so fucking clear.
Investigate and surveil. But the last and I think most important thing is people like the governor of Minnesota and the attorney general who are elected to protect us don't have immunity from this kind of prosecution.
They do not.
So I think the Justice Department should be investigating Governor Walz and the Attorney General to see how many times did they meet with these people? How much money did they receive in campaign donations? Did they lay off this conspiracy to allow it to move forward and benefit politically, which would make them potentially co-conspirators in a counterterrorism investigation? And they need to be held accountable.
Co-conspirators in a counterterrorism. See, I like this guy. This is good.
Not just them saying, oh, we eventually cooperated with the federal government when we investigated this. Were they involved in it from the beginning?
Such great questions, because the money flow, Kaylee, indeed, it went even to Somaliland. I mean, the ability for the government thus far to
It didn't go to Somaliland, went to Somalia, as far as I know. There's two separate countries. Somaliland seems to be the separatist movement that is more reasonable, and Somalia is the PvP server.
The funds has been robust and substantial and totally illustrates potential culpability. We've been talking about, or I've been saying that I was hoping for some type of criminal liability here, because this exceeds the standard of negligence so greatly, and there is zero immunity that they can enjoy in their offices, because none of this was within the bounds of official duty capacities. This is all fraud and misconduct and breach of duties. There is nothing about this that has to do with policy.
Yes, and it's bigger than Feeding Our Futures. In fact, it goes back to 2019. That's before Feeding Our Futures, with a whistleblower report, an investigator. That investigator sounded the alarm. It was his job to investigate things like this. His entire unit sounded the alarm, saying it's a near certainty that at least a percentage of the fraud proceeds in Minnesota go overseas and are being siphoned off to one or more designated terrorist organizations. So to the point that
somebody needs to get in trouble for this. Like, and I'm talking about serious trouble. Like, you're talking about having money get reallocated to literal terrorism.
Professor Yu's making, if I'm Tim Walz and an investigator in my government, who, by the way, his unit ended up being shut down. Why? I would listen to that. I would pull him into my office. I would find out about that money and ask, why and how is this going overseas to terrorists? I agree with Professor Yu, and he presented this theory to me for the first time. If you're aiding and abetting terrorists, this could be terrorism charge. This is a big deal. But state actors is where I'm looking at for prosecutions at this point. These fraudsters, it's like playing whack-a-mole. You hit one fraudster, another one pops up. You hit one, another pops up. You need to look at what state actors knew. And that's something immediately when I presented John Yu's legal theory to the vice president, he said, I'm going to go to DOJ. I'm going to take that there. They should be looking at this. Of course, the facts match the law. That's DOJ's call, not the executive branch's call. Nevertheless, we need to look at it. And finally, I would just say this. Gavin Newsom, too. I mean, going back to 2022, he was warned about hospice fraud. What did he do? He put a moratorium on hospice. He shut down 287 hospices, but that was over 4 years. J.D. Vance has shut down 800 hospices in 2 months. So what was Newsom doing? Why were they sitting?
It's engineered. It's
on this information.
All this is
Why
designed.
were governors enabling fraud? And I would just note Newsom hit back at J.D. Vance this weekend saying JD's lying in the fight against fraud. We've walked the walk. You've walked the walk? Then why'd you do a fourth of the work that the Trump administration has done over a 4-year period? They have done in 60 days. You're not walking the walk. You're playing catch up.
And there have been zero.
No, they did the minimum requisite for them to say that they did something, and then they let the rest of it go because they, like, I mean, you're always going to have casualties, right? And so, like, at a certain point, they have to sacrifice some of them because it's getting to be too obvious or too problematic. But that doesn't mean that the existing system is removed. It just means that they did enough to placate people that are critical of them. That's it.
Complaints or resistance from those 800 organizations shut down because indeed they were fraudulent. Now, you talked about Gavin Newsom's always over chatty response, but Governor Walz hasn't responded to J.D. Vance. Now, the vice president said he hasn't heard from him at all about the fraud probe. And remember, though, the governor took credit somehow for the fraud probe and the results that were uncovered. Let's watch.
No, Tim Walz has not contacted me. I did see that he took credit when we did those 22 subpoenas that I mentioned, that the investigations that we're doing for the anti-fraud stuff in Minneapolis. Tim Walz did take credit for it, even though Tim Walz has not helped us at all. We've gotten some cooperation from local authorities, but from the governor's office, we really haven't gotten that cooperation.
So he takes credit, by the way, after he calls the journalist, however, a white supremacist. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so Tim Walz and Gavin Newsom both personally attacked Nick Shirley and doxed him and tried to do whatever they could to get their unhinged supporters to go after him, you know, putting his safety at risk. But what I'm most curious about, I mean, I can't stand slimy politicians. And I put Governors Walz and Newsom in that category because it's only when it has to do with self-preservation and further ascending the political ladder do they actually jump into action. Like, they're not public servants. They're personally serving their own needs and ambitions. And, you know, Tim Walz, and we've heard this from whistleblowers, he and his office were shutting down anyone who was bringing the fraud to the attention of the state government. And there were plenty of people who were like, this is not right. I mean, there were those of us covering some of the PPP loans in real time during COVID saying, you know, this is ripe for corruption. There are plenty of people out here because these are
designed intentionally for that, done on purpose.
These are vetted so flimsily that they're going to take advantage of this. And it's very interesting that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, she was the one who authored and pushed the Meals Act in 2020, which allowed for a way lower threshold of, you know, trying to figure out and codify who was getting the money from the federal government to give out meals to kids and families in need. So they didn't have to have any verification after her federal legislation. So it's like, I would also like to know from her, like, when did this become your pet project?
I was on this.
It's their pet project because it's how they funnel people to their demographic. These people, and this is one thing that you have to understand, is that a lot of these people that come in they don't have the same American values that, you know, you're supposed to have. These are people who are looking to take advantage of American systems and then use them to benefit people of their ethnicity or their race. That is their primary goal. Everything else is in service of that larger goal. They're not Americans. I don't care if they have a passport. I don't care if they have residence. I don't care if they're a citizen. They're not Americans. And everybody knows it.
Show in the middle
Especially
of the pandemic
them.
from my home studio when we were all at home, when I got the alert that my identity had been stolen for a PPP loan fraud. I mean, it was absolutely rampant. Now, Cheryl Kennedy talked about Ilhan Omar, and let's talk about her disclosure forms, her financial disclosure forms for a second. We're going to pull up that information so that we can get from you the analysis of her economics. Here's the breakdown of her 2024 financial disclosure. It went from an estimate between $6 and $30 million, way down somewhere between $18,000 and $95,000 when a lot of eyebrows were raised about how much she had. And look, You have to wonder, we're just alleging here, we're just brainstorming, but the nexus between changing her mind about the threshold of the financial disclosure and all of a sudden being a multi-millionaire, I guess you have to get to Congress first before you can get rich.
Yeah, you mean they shouldn't be trading stocks? That's a whole nother...
I don't think that's what happened. And I think that there was something that was a lot dirtier that happened. And I think that if you really investigate this and do an audit into it, you're going to immediately figure it out. I don't even think that they did a good job hiding it. I think that you could probably, like, if you gave the autists and Doge this case, I bet they'd figure it out in a day. Straight up. It would be that fast.
Conversation, but you know, a couple of things here. One of the things that I love that J.D. Vance said, the vice president, he said, look, he goes, my family back in the day, we needed these programs. These programs, there are people in need that actually need food through SNAP. They need hospice care. They need funding through Medicaid. They're getting lost in all this, and I think that's heartbreaking. At the same time, John, you mentioned the $250 million. It's looking like it's in the billions. You need a forensic accountant to go through to try to trace all the money. There are ways to do it.
It's super easy.
Some of the things that they have found, and this is first from Feeding Our Future, okay, you inflate attendance sheets for meal distribution, fake invoices, fake food purchase receipts, multiple businesses. You talked about that with the vice president. You shut those down. That's one thing. The autism services, there are people that do need autism services, but this is money that's taken right out of Medicaid, fake signatures, therapy never delivered, kickbacks that were being given out to certain families. I mean, the fraud, but you can use technology and you can't, again, use forensic accounting to get to that money. The problem with it, and we've been asked this on the Business Network, can we get the money back? Can the American taxpayer recover a clawback of what has been lost in Minnesota? Likely no.
No, we're not getting the money back. The best that we can do is we can seize all their assets and send them back to wherever they came from. That's what I would do. Seize their assets, denaturalize them, take everything they have, send them back with the shoes on their feet. And they should be happy they're getting to go back. They should be. A lot of people would want worse. I'm a reasonable guy.
Because most of that money, if it wasn't put on in bags of cash on planes back to Somalia, which there is, of course, reporting on that, unfortunately, it's been moved over to crypto and property, African property. So that money likely is gone. And I think that's the biggest heartbreak of all of this. You know, going back to the COVID pandemic, the PPP loans, we saw massive fraud in that. We get through that. Now we're hit with Minnesota. And now the next step of this is going to be California. And the California fraud is likely just as large as what we found in Minnesota, financially speaking, anyway.
The second gut punch to me for this is that not only is there not recompense to the taxpayer, as you're saying, but we've already absorbed higher taxes to cover all of those budgets to begin with. So the American taxpayer is essentially being penalized twice. Once when they paid for all the fraud to begin with, and then again when they don't get the money back. Final thoughts, Professor?
Well, I think that this is an example of why we have a huge budget deficit like you're talking about. We had rampant spending because of COVID, as Kennedy's talking about, a lot of fraud built in, but they were throwing money at helicopters, but they never brought the budget deficit back down, and we haven't devoted enough resources to enforcement. And so what this all shows is that, yes, maybe we allowed things to get loose, but we've got to crack down now and get the people who stole money from the taxpayer. I mean, this is what's happening. This is one city, Minneapolis, $250 million were stolen. Why don't we have J.D. Vance's task force go to California, New York, Illinois, places where, I hate to say it, but I bet the fraud was even larger there than in this one city in Minneapolis. And we're the taxpayers. This is our money, and now it's ending up in terrorist groups in Somalia. So I think that we should be spending more, I hate to say it, but more money for Justice Department lawyers and FBI agents to get to the bottom of this.
One quick point, we do have a ballpark. Estimate of how big this could be, because one program, Medi-Cal in California, over a several-year period, 3 to 4 years, they estimate it could have lost $146 billion. One program, one state. This could be a $1 trillion fraud epidemic. Trillion.
And these are the people that want to tax some guy that makes, like, you know, $5 billion a year. Like, they want to tax him an extra 10%. So, like, you get $500 million, but they have no problem spending $140 billion for some other bullshit. It was never about the billionaires. That's the thing, is that like if it was never about the money. It's about who the money's being taken from.
Be sure to like.
It's so annoying. And it's only a logical response unless you're in on it. Yeah, exactly. $140 billion. That's a lot of money. It is. That's a huge amount of money to just fucking waste out of nowhere. Oh, my God. And it's very, very annoying for me to see that. Fair share of theft. Yes, I know. It's real large fraud. It should pay for itself. Yeah, I know. And worst of all, Democrats don't seem to care. Well, they do care. They want to do it. Like, you don't understand is that this fraud is what subsidizes their voter base. See, their voter base doesn't have jobs in a lot of these cases. These people, they can't contribute anything to the economy. All they can do is rely on the government. That's the reason why the Democrats imported them in. It's so you keep these people continuously subservient to the government, so they have to keep voting for bigger government, and that way you have infinite voters forever. And so that's the entire strategy for it. That's the reason why people are playing along with this. So it's used to pay for riots and protests. Yeah, exactly. Are you retarded? Trump's pardoned so many fraudsters. Well, I mean, you clearly don't care about fraud. Yeah, I mean, like if you're talking about Trump pardoning fraudsters, do you really care about that? No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be trying to bring this up whenever I'm talking about this Minnesota fraud. No, the reason why you're saying that is that you want to weaponize my values of being against fraud against me so you can use it as a smokescreen for whenever the fraud is beneficial to you. I'm not going to even engage in that. This is very clearly a problem, and you trying to distract from it and bring up something else isn't going to work. Like, I know exactly what you're trying to do. It's obvious what you're trying to do. So it's just, I mean, again, like this is I'm going to pretend to be principled. I'm not. I don't give a fuck. Like, I know that you're not. You know, I know you're just playing this game. And why would I try to play into it? There's no reason to. Ban them? Oh, I already did. Yeah, problem solved. Don't worry about it. And rats are going to rant. Yeah, creating a false narrative to win an argument. Yeah, exactly. And it's an argument that they don't even believe in, right? And I think that's the main issue, is that they don't even believe in the argument to begin with. They just do it in order to try to shut down yours. And I think that's really the main issue that a lot of people would be annoyed by, right? At least to me, I would. I have an inoperable brain tumor. I can't get disability, but Somalians get millions. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking insane.
Castro and the others are charged with additional crimes.
Raul Castro, is that the brother of Fidel Castro? Like, I actually don't know. Like, I'm assuming that they're related, right? But I know that the brother of Fidel Castro took over after Fidel Castro passed away, but I didn't know, because Fidel Castro's really old, so I didn't know if his brother, so he's still alive, okay.
Well, including destruction of aircraft and 4 individual counts of murder.
Oh.
The indictment was returned by a grand jury sitting in this district in Miami. On April 23rd, 2026.
Can you imagine, bro, the the catharsis of all of the Miami Cubans whenever they get to fucking hear this. They're like, yes, bro, this, because he's going to be brought back right there to where you're at. Like, they're like, yep, that's fucking right. It's over. About time. Yeah.
And was unsealed today.
Here's one. Is he one? I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's Cuban or not.
The families of 4 murdered Americans have waited for justice.
Yeah. Is it Pam Bondi coming back when Nadal hits 50K again? Maybe she will. And so, here's another one.
En un día como hoy, en el 1900.
Oh, you know this one's going to be serious. I'm not going to watch it. It's in Spanish. Marco Rubio sends a special message to the Cuban people, a 5-minute video in Spanish. And then I randomly clicked on a part of it, and the one word that we see is Maduro. Uh-oh. Yeah. Is that about right? Yep, cough pre-watch. Yeah, I guess so. And you gotta watch it. It's really good. Okay.
On a
day like today in 1902, the Cuban flag flew for the first time over an independent country. But I know that today, you who call the island your home are going through unimaginable hardships. Today, I want to share with you about the reason for their suffering, and I want to tell you that in the U.S. that we are offering to help you, not only alleviate the current crisis, but to build a better future. We can read. Wait, no voiceover? Okay. Electricity is to an oil blockade. It's not due to blockade.
Llevan años sufriendo de apagones. La verdadera razón
por la que
no tienen electricidad, combustible ni alimentos es porque quienes controlan su país han saqueado.
Oh, sorry, guys. I know you guys can't hear it.
Miles de millones de dólares.
There, you guys hear it now?
Pero nada ha sido.
If you listen to Spanish loud enough, it turns into English, right?
Para ayudar al pueblo. Hace 30 años, Raúl Castro fundó una empresa llamada Gaesa. Esta empresa es propiedad de las Fuerzas
Armadas. I think that's how it works.
Y está operada por ellos.
The company
y cuenta con ingresos 3 veces superiores
3 times greater than your current government budget. Wait a minute. So Raúl Castro has a private company. Wait a minute. So he has his. But I thought it was a communist country. Well, how does he have a private company that has more money than the government? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. Wait. Are you kidding me?
Hoy, mientras ustedes sufren,
today while you suffer, the businessmen have $18 billion of assets and control Cuba's. Wait a minute. So these are the guys that all of the anti-oligarchy idiots in America are trying to gas up, saying save Cuba. Meanwhile, Cuba's controlled by less people with more power than America. Oh my, they're so stupid. Oh my God.
Obtienen ganancias de
they
hoteles,
profit from hotels, construction,
bancos, tiendas, y incluso
even the money
they
send you from the US.
Todo.
Everything passes, so they're controlling everything.
De esas remesas, ellos retienen un porcentaje.
From those remittances,
pero de las
they're going to
ganancias de
profit.
Gaesa, nada llega.
But Gaesa's profits, nothing reaches
en
you.
vez de usar el dinero para comprar petróleo.
This is actually so good. This is so good because, like, it totally kills the narrative that, like, this is some communist country that's being oppressed. Like, whenever you hear that, you know, this company just owns everything and they're fucking shaving off money and these guys are, like, multi-billionaires, it's just over.
Todos los otros países del mundo dependieron del petróleo gratis de Hugo Chávez y Maduro para quedarse con
and Maduro.
Pero ahora,
but
que
now
dejó
the
de
free
llegarles
oil
el
has
petróleo
stopped
gratis,
coming.
Ellos compran combustible para sus generadores y sus vehículos. Mientras que el pueblo se les pide que se sacrifiquen. En vez de usar el dinero para mantener y modernizar las centrales eléctricas que están dañadas, usan el dinero para construir más hoteles para
foreigners.
Para enviar a sus familiares,
send their relatives to live in luxury in Madrid.
Incluso hasta aquí en Estados Unidos.
even in the United
Hoy,
States.
Cuba no está controlada por ninguna revolución.
Cuba is not controlled by any
Cuba está
revolution.
controlada por
It's controlled by Gaza.
Un estado dentro del estado.
A state within a state that is accountable to no one and hoards its profits from the businesses. Dude, it's actually just like us.
Y el único rol que desempeña el llamado gobierno es exigirle a ustedes que sigan haciendo sacrificios y reprimiendo a cualquiera que se atreva a quejarse. El presidente Trump ofrece una nueva relación entre Estados Unidos.
A new relationship between the
Pero
US
tiene
and
que ser
Cuba.
directamente con ustedes, el pueblo cubano, no con Gaesa. Primero estamos ofreciendo $100 millones
We're offering $100 million in food, medicine for you, the people? God
Pero
damn.
tiene que ser distribuido directamente al pueblo cubano por la Iglesia
I wonder why they
Católica
don't want that.
o otros grupos caritativos de confianza, no robados por Gaesa para que lo vendan en sus tiendas.
I imagine that like this is like I imagine what it would be like if I was running a company that bought Blizzard and I got to remake World of Warcraft the way that I wanted after spending my entire life being mad about how it is. And I imagine that, but like times 100 for like Marco Rubio in Cuba. I do. That's the way that I feel. It's like, bro, finally, after all this time,
Pero el pueblo cubano no le interesa la
gonna set
calidad
things
permanente.
straight.
Ustedes quieren la oportunidad
His
de
whole
vivir
life,
en su
yes.
propio país, como viven sus familiares en Estados Unidos o en otros países del mundo.
The U.S. country wall.
Hoy, desde los medios de comunicación
The
hasta
media
el
and entertainment,
entretenimiento,
private sector
desde el
politics.
sector de los negocios hasta la política, desde la música hasta
From
los
the
deportes,
music to the
los cubanos
sports.
han llegado a la cima de prácticamente
Virtually all
todas las
industries in
industrias,
all
en todos los
countries
países,
except one.
excepto uno, Cuba.
Damn.
Hoy en Cuba, solo aquellos cercanos al élite de
Only
Gaesa
those
o que
close to the
forman parte
Gaza
de
elite
ella
have
pueden
profitable
tener
businesses.
negocios rentables. Pero el presidente
It's
Trump
crazy
ofrece
how
una
it's
nueva
the
vida
exact
entre
same.
Estados Unidos y una nueva Cuba. Una nueva Cuba donde ustedes, los
New
cubanos de a
Cuba,
pie,
where you
no
and
solo
ordinary
Gaesa,
not just Gaza,
pueda
can
ser
own a
dueño de
gas
una
station.
gasolinera, o de
Yeah.
una tienda de ropa,
Clothing
o de un
store, a
restaurante.
restaurant.
Una
Wait a
nueva
minute,
Cuba
wait a
donde-
minute, wait. That's crazy though. Like you saying that people can own businesses and run their own business? Well, I thought communism was owned by the state, and by the state they mean the guys that run Cuba that are actually running it through another company that's just like capitalism.
Ustedes, no solo Gaesa, pueden
Oh
abrir un
no,
banco.
oh no,
tener
no,
una
no, you don't say
constructora.
that.
Una nueva Cuba, donde ustedes, y no solo el Partido
What's
Comunista,
this
de Cuba,
devilry? I
pueda
know.
ser dueño de una
Can
estación
own
de
a
televisión,
a
o de un
newspaper.
periódico.
Uh-oh.
Una
That's a
nueva
big
Cuba,
one.
donde pueda quejarse.
Can you imagine, bro, like the paradigm shift? Like that you tell a Cuban person that they can own their own newspaper and print whatever they want? That's like telling somebody in America they can walk on the ceiling. That's like, well, wait, what? You can do? There's no way. It's like impossible.
De un sistema que falla,
Total paradigm
temor a ir
shift.
a la cárcel o ser forzado a irse de su isla. Y una nueva Cuba donde tengan la oportunidad
New Cuba
real
where you have real
de elegir a
opportunity to
quienes gobiernan
choose
su
who
país
governs your
y
country and
votar
vote
para
to replace them.
reemplazarlos si no están haciendo un
Uh-oh.
buen trabajo.
Uh-oh. They're not going to like
Esto no es
that.
imposible.
They're
Todo
not
esto
doing a good
existe
job.
en
Get
las
rid of
Bahamas,
them.
en la República
Exists in the
Dominicana,
Bahamas, the
en
Dominican
Jamaica y
Republic,
incluso
Jamaica,
a
and
tan
then
solo
90 miles
90
away in
millas en
Florida.
Florida.
That's right. Everybody gets to have fun except for you.
Dueño de su propio negocio y tener el derecho al voto es posible alrededor de Cuba.
Is this AI?
¿Por qué no es
No,
posible
it's called
para
Spanish.
ustedes dentro de Cuba? En Estados Unidos estamos listos
In the U.S., we're
para
ready
abrir
to
un
open a
nuevo
new
capítulo
chapter
en la
in
relación
the
entre
relationship
nuestra
between
gente
our people and
y
our
nuestros
countries.
países. Y actualmente,
Currently, the only thing
lo
standing in the
único
way
que se interpone en el camino
Yeah.
hacia un mejor futuro
of a better future are
son
those who
quienes
control
controlan
your country.
su país.
Man. And there he is, bro. That old ass fucking. Oh my God. That ring. Oh, Jesus. Indicted in the U.S. Oh, they're going to go get him. Oh, man. That's just too bad. And as a Latino with tons of Cuban friends, I love Marco and them freeing my brothers. I mean, again, like a lot of my family is in Florida. So, you know, my mom was always very favorable towards it as well. So I think that really, I mean, it's a great thing. It's an amazing thing. And so, and then the Cubans can build out Guantanamo Bay together, but the U.S. can house all the criminals. I'm telling you guys, like, a better world is possible. A better world is possible. And I didn't even know, like, what they really need to do. Here's what they need to do is they need to get all of these retards money, that $18 million, just kill them and take it away from them. And then after that, just give it to the people and be like, all right, guys, well, this is supposed to be your money. So we're going to have a government. We're going to give the money to the government. You guys can figure out what you want to do, right? And like, that's it. That's what I'd do, right? I mean, that seems like it's pretty simple. And just kill them. That's it. Pay Cuba to house criminals? Maybe. I don't even think we should do that, honestly. I think Cuba has enough of their own problems. Like, I don't think they have the infrastructure to deal with, like, extra criminals. Like, they've got so many of these problems to begin with, right? And Marco Rubio's called Reading My Mind. Yeah, I guess so. And, yeah, he's usually kept out of the loop. Who knows? Didn't Hassan say Cuba was doing great on his recent trip? Well, again, I mean, like, this is, and I find this to be very funny because, like, it really goes to show that all of these, like, communist, socialist LARPers, all of the, like, in, like, these communist countries, it's not like, everybody's equal. No, it's just everybody's poor. Everybody's poor, and then you have a handful of people that have a lot of money. And they basically make all the decisions. And I think that it's a power fantasy that I think it's a narcissistic power fantasy that I think a lot of leftists have in America, that they think that communism is going to result in them being those anointed few. They're not going to be in the bread lines. They're not going to be on a 9-month wait list for a toaster. They're not going to be sitting there trying to, where's the eggs? We haven't had eggs for 6 years. They're going to have all the eggs they want because they're going to run the country. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Jeez. Oh, probably not, The inmates could be building the infrastructure for the Cubans to enjoy. Maybe, right? But, like, then you're going to... I think that they need to deal with things themselves, right? And according to AI, what is this here? According to AI, to think, what is this here? If I can find what this is. And about Venezuela, a mother passed away after discovering her son gone missing in custody, had been dead for nearly a year, and the family was never notified. That's the Venezuelan regime for you. Well, and I think that this is the problem, right? And like, the problem is that a lot of people don't understand that not taking action is taking action. Whenever you don't do something, you just allow somebody else to do something. And when the other person does something and that thing is something that's really bad, then you've got a huge problem. So I think that's it. You're wrong on this. They're so blind, they assume everything's working and they'll be in charge and above, that they'll be in charge and everything will work. So you think that they're so stupid that they don't even believe that they're going to be special, that everybody is just going to be rich and it's going to be fine? Well, anyway, the 94-year-old serves as Cuba's president from 2008. Yeah, that's whenever Castro died. It was somewhere around there. And his younger brother of Fidel Castro, there it is, 94 years old, going to get arrested. Oh my God. Well, there it is. Thank God they're going to get rid of these guys, and hopefully after this they'll be able to free Cuba. I think that'd be great. Don't operator dropped you on his stream earlier? Nothing negative, just about he's watching your stream about mixtape? Oh yeah, I saw that. I mean, Donut, like, I saw that they were talking a little bit about me. I don't know if I can find the clip of it. They're talking about me going on that podcast. I've thought about it. I mean, like, again, I can drive down to San Antonio. It's nothing, right? I'm in Austin. So that's like an hour for me, maybe a little bit less if I'm driving fast. But, like, yeah, it's not even a big deal at all. Like, I know I got plenty of friends in San Antonio anyway, right? So that's the way I see it.
It just doesn't stop. There are no breaks. Did you see what I saw? Trump Mobile made an announcement. My phone's coming. They start shipping the Trump Mobile device this week. The T1 is on its way. I told you, we had a lot of people doubting it, a lot of naysaying. It's not coming, it's not real. But I told you, I knew it. I knew it. Just like the One Piece, it's real and it's on its way. So let's go over the big video from Trump Mobile here. I have yet to receive an email about the whereabouts with my phone, but I'm sure that that's just, they're probably just so excited, so many happy customers that have been fucking salivating, waiting for this, that they'll get to mine eventually. No doubt, I'm sure. As I've been told for the last 5 months, any day now, and now we've reached any day. Well, the nebulous idea of any day. Some people might be getting emails about their phone being shipped out this week. So far, I am not among them, but I will be eventually, I bet.
Introducing the new T1 phone from Trump Mobile, a powerful device designed for performance, reliability, and real American value.
Amen. That gave me the biggest, hardest, most throbbing patriotic boner I ever did have. That is the truest statement ever uttered out of someone's pie hole. This is real American values in a golden phone that's made with parts that are entirely from other nations, not in America. It's so American first that they had to drop the initial promise of this phone that an estimated 600,000 people shelled out clams for, that claimed it was going to be made in America. They had to pivot off that because it wasn't. It couldn't be. It was impossible to make that device that they initially pitched, which has gone through many different iterations now, by the way. It's not even the same thing they initially said. It has gone through a lot of different things, but they couldn't make it domestically at the price point that they were advertising. So instead, it had to be made with parts that were entirely overseas, with favored nations, whatever the fuck that means, and is assembled here in Florida. So the American part is that they put the pieces together in Florida and slap a flag on it. Yeehaw. But as far as power goes, I tell you what, sports fans, I now see why it's almost a year late. They were cooking with the latest and greatest from Temu technology. Take a peek at the specs here, which again have gone through many different mutations here, but they settled on the greatest mid-range shit they could possibly find. Oh, wow, it really has been built for power. So much power, it makes the fucking Manhattan Project look like Weenie Hut Jr.
Built with premium materials and a sleek modern design, the T1 delivers the speed and responsiveness you expect from a flagship smartphone without the flagship price. Engineered to keep up with your day, the T1 delivers dependable performance whether you're streaming, navigating, working, or staying connected with family and friends.
When I heard streaming, I knew this was the phone of the future. It can keep up with the intense demand of streaming. Thank heavens. I cannot wait to see Trump Mobile customers' streams. Those have got to go crazy. That shit probably pops off Insano style. Hey guys, it's me, Cody Bacon Ranch, here in my bedroom. Oh, yeah, that's just my wife and her boyfriend. Sounds like he's really giving her pussy the beans, huh? Happy for you, babe. Anyway, this was just my first test stream. Make sure to drop a few galaxies in here. I'll see you guys soon. I bet it's going to be incredible content. I really can't wait. It can keep up with the demand for so much, and it can do everything a phone can do. That's not easy to find. Now, I'm sure by streaming demands, it wasn't exclusive to like broadcasting or streaming yourself. It probably meant in all of its forms. But what a strong selling point if they do market this to like influencer hopefuls. Like the T1 device is your entry point into streaming IRL content or something. That would be super fun to see.
Giving you you the confidence of a phone that's ready whenever you need it. The brilliant display makes streaming, browsing, and staying connected feel smooth and effortless.
You know, until they said something, I never really had a lack of confidence in my phone to do the things that a phone is expected to do. It's kind of like the whole purpose is that the phone works. So right now the selling point here is the phone functions. It doesn't do anything extraordinary, but it works. That's really what we're falling back on. Like, hey guys, look, it's late, but rest assured you can be confident that this phone will do the things you expect your current phone to do.
Unlike many modern flagship devices, the T1 includes a 3.5mm headphone jack, allowing users to utilize their existing audio equipment. Capture sharp photos, clear video, and the moments that matter most with a camera system designed for everyday life. Right out of the box, the T1 phone includes a charging cable, charging block, and a clear protective case, giving you a few useful essentials right from the start.
When I tell you I can't wait for this phone, I don't think you fully understand just how excited I am to finally get my fucking paws on it. I cannot wait to see the videos that you could make on it and the clear, crisp pictures that you can take. Camera so powerful you can see into the fucking future with it. A headphone jack. I can't wait to really get in there and dive in. Where's my email? Any day now, hopefully I'll get it. So this is the first signs of life of the Trump phone, the first confirmation that it's real. I'll put in air quotes right now because still nobody has them outside of this concept video and the thing that The Verge saw a couple weeks ago. But it does seem like there is something on its way. And I've said this from the very beginning. I always had faith that they would ship something, just some irredeemable piece of dog shit that they would just drop ship off Alibaba. But it's taken them significantly longer than I ever guessed it would. They are almost a year past their promise, their delivery. Like, it has been a long journey to get here, and I am so curious what they finally shard out. I cannot wait. Especially after going through the unhinged lunacy that is the terms and conditions of Trump Mobile, the Trump phone. Oh man. But yeah, I saw this a little bit ago and I was stunned. They actually made a peep about it, which has been very rare. This has been something they have tried their best to like forget about, but I think over the last couple months, there's been like more outlets and stuff inquiring about it and talking about it. So I think they probably started to feel the pressure. Even some of the people that pre-ordered it back in, June of 2025, even those early suckers, they were starting to call it out like, what the fuck is going on? So I think the mounting pressure has really gotten to them. So now they're starting to actually, put pedal to the metal here and get this moving, which is something they hadn't been doing for about a year. So who knows? Maybe they've had this for a while and they've just been in the lab cooking and making it incredible and it's going to hit my desk and be my new go-to phone. We'll see. I'm very doubtful on the quality of this for obvious reasons, but I'm going to approach it with open mind and open cheeks here and just let it bless me with whatever gifts it decides to bestow upon me. So yeah, looks like Trump Mobile is actually coming this time. Maybe. Who knows? Any day now, as they say at Trump Mobile. That's really about it. See ya. You ever seen a man's soul leave his body? You have now. So, about 5 months ago, decided, let's take a peek into this whole Trump phone thing, because they're long overdue on delivering this golden phone that'll reinvent my understanding of what it means to deliver a phone call and, I don't know, ask Grok to put me in a bikini on my mobile device. And, well, that started a bit of a snowball effect where I got really wrapped up in the whirlwind of trying to get my hands on this fucking mythical device. I would probably have better odds of finding a real-life Dragon Ball than a T1 device. Anyway, I don't need to regurgitate the lore for how we got here. Point is, there's been a new development, a huge disaster, and I mean this isn't a meme, I'm not being exaggeratory. What's unfolded is a complete fucking catastrophe. There is a massive security problem with TrumpMobile.com that has led to thousands of customers getting a big cock in their mouth.
I'm making this video to let you know that TrumpMobile.com is leaking customer information, and I know that because, sadly, I am one of those customers whose mailing address, email address, everything short of credit card number is being leaked via a security exploit that I'm not going to go into too much detail to explain, but it's not complicated.
Yeah, being a proud customer of Trump Mobile here, trying to get my paws on that T1 device, has put me on the hook here of this security vulnerability. So this individual had sent me an email, as well as CoffeeZilla, as well as a lot of other customers, about this vulnerability that they discovered on the Trump Mobile website, which allowed them to access every piece of customer information except credit card number. That seems to be like the only thing that they weren't able to look at there, but everything else was just right out there frolicking, and they were able to look at it and were able to prove that this wasn't some hoax, that they actually did have this big security breach that they were able to get all this information from. Basically, they have the whole kit and caboodle of everything Trump Mobile. They got them by the titties. They're squeezing on the honkers. And they were able to provide a lot of information about it, as well as divulging the method, which neither CoffeeZilla nor myself will get into, but it is a big whoops-a-daisy that needs fixing. So CoffeeZilla and myself, as well as this individual, have reached out to Trump Mobile in every possible avenue we could find to put this on their radar for them to fix it, because this is a huge issue. All of us have been met with radio silence. This individual does not appear to be some kind of malicious bad actor trying to use this for some kind of nefarious purposes. This is someone that has actively been trying to get it fixed, and then when he's been met with nothing but crickets from Trump Mobile, as well as a couple of other outlets that he reached out to, that's when he reached out to myself, CoffeeZilla, and multiple other people as well that were customers here, victims of this security flaw. So since no one from the official Trump Mobile team is receptive to this kind of alert, what else is there to do besides just make this video and CoffeeZilla's video publicly talking about it, so that way maybe they can, see it and fix it, because this is a huge problem. And this should hopefully dissuade other people from purchasing a Trump Mobile device, because it is not safe to do so right now. It is actually dangerous. It has a huge security issue.
I mean, exactly how it works was explained to me. I'm not a computer expert, but even I can understand the mechanics of it, meaning it's very low-hanging fruit. Basically, this past weekend, I was reached out to among many other people who have Trump Mobile accounts to let us know that our identification was being served up. This was by somebody who said they had no interest in doxing me, but they just wanted to let me know that this was happening. This person had my order information, my mailing address. They had other people's information as well that they shared with me just to prove it was real. Of course, blurring out the actual address data. From what I can tell, the person who contacted me, they're just interested in getting this fixed. They contacted the Trump Mobile team. They didn't respond.
Bro, I fucking swear, the Trump Mobile, the T1 device, is like the mummy's curse. It brings nothing but misery and plague. Everything Trump touches is literally the cheese touch. Holy fuck, man. I bought the phone as a joke just to see, A, if it would ever actually come out, and B, if it does release, if it's any good whatsoever, what actually even gets served to me. And as a result, now I get butt-fucked. This is the President of the United States, man. Just the concept of this would be something that people would insult and critique if they saw it in some kind of satirical context in a show or a movie. Because it's so over-the-top stupid. The fucking president of this country has a company, and has had many companies that are complete fucking shams, But this one in particular is not only extremely shady and unable to deliver anything that it has been hyping up and taking orders for so long, but also has a security flaw that is actually disastrous for the customers. It's just unthinkable. So you can't trust your information with the president, something that is backed by the president of the United States of America. Like, I knew this whole thing was a bunch of barnacles, like everything with the T1, just another one of Trump's endless money-grabbing ploys, like the Trump Bible and all that, but I would have never expected it to be this much of an absurd, throbbing headache. I'm porky-pigging right now. It's just so annoying.
We have received no response from the official team, so basically how we feel is there's a public interest in letting people know, do not order on TrumpMobile.com unless you're ready for your information to be leaked. It's basically that bad. And also raises concerns given that Trump Mobile is offering a cellular service. I don't know how much of a view they would have into people's browsing histories, call history, location data, but I would assume they keep some of that data. And if that is the case, I'd be very concerned given how much, or should I say, how little protection they give to your basic customer information, which should be obviously like under lock and key.
That's exactly right. This is a massive safety concern. Giving your information to Trump Mobile is like covering yourself in raw meat and jumping into the grizzly bear habitat at the zoo. It's a recipe for disaster. So, since they haven't responded to any of us reaching out to try and get it fixed, this is the only option to let people know, do not place any product orders with Trump Mobile right now. And if you already have, goose is kind of cooked. Sleep with one eye open, I guess. Cold sweats. I don't know what to tell you. There's not a whole lot you can do. We don't know if this is the only individual on the planet that's figured this out, or if it has been exploited by like malicious entities that have been scraping this data for dubious reasons, and they just haven't made it known to anyone yet. We have no way of knowing that right now. This individual reached out of concern, and they'd been trying to get it fixed themselves to no avail, so then reached out to us to try and get it fixed, and we also got radio silence as well, so there's not a whole lot of other options left. But this appears to be someone that genuinely just wants the problem fixed, and the whole purpose of talking about this is this shit needs to get fixed. This is a huge fucking issue.
Now, among other things that were discovered while realizing that, my address is out on TrumpMobile.com being served up to anyone who knows this security exploit, we also found out that the real number of customer orders is much lower than we thought previously. It had been reported that 600,000 people ordered the T1 phone. Turns out that number was basically made up from thin air. But actually looking at the customer, unique IDs, it looks like the real number of actual customers on this website was more like roughly 10,000 unique customers with roughly 30,000 unique customer phone orders. I don't know if that also includes Trump Mobile itself as a cellular service plan. I'm not exactly sure, but it looks like about 30,000 different orders went through, much lower than previously reported, about 5% actually of what was previously reported.
Yeah, that was a wacky little nugget that came as a result of this individual having access to basically the fucking mainframe of Trump Mobile. They were able to comb through and look at the total number of product orders that were placed, and according to that information, the numbers that have been reported with the 590,000, that's straight fucking horseradish apparently, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone because making up numbers has become the bread and butter tactic of anything Trump adjacent. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I guess I just really thought that Trump Mobile was more successful with brain dead lobotomites. So this is actually something, I guess, positive. You could look at this positively, oh, there were only roughly 30,000 suckers, and maybe a handful of them were like myself and CoffeeZilla, who were there to try and see well, what is this piece of shit? Is it even real? That kind of thing, investigating it, I guess. Who knows? But it is a much lower number, according to what has been discovered through all this, than what they have been saying it is.
Which might explain why this has been seemingly such a low priority for Eric Trump and the people who are involved in this. It seems like there have been delays, changes, all sorts of stuff. Looks like they're trying to back out of this thing, only to then later say, no, we're actually going to deliver it. At this point, I don't know if it's more just to get this off the legal liability ledger, because it doesn't seem like there's as much interest in this device as was previously reported. And in some ways, it's good because it means the blast radius might be about 10,000 customers, which is still bad, to be clear, but much lower than was previously thought.
I think that was a great point from CoffeeZilla there, because that would really explain why this has been so low on their list of things to do. They promised a phone a year ago and then just let that fall to the back rooms and hope people forgot about it. And that seemingly did work for a while. People were just more than willing to just forget about it. Like, they got neuralized by the Men in Black. Until recently, where it started to bubble over and people started paying attention. Now that the pressure's on, they all of a sudden have this phone that they're ready to start moving on. So, since the number appears to be so much lower than what's reported, that explains why there hasn't been a whole lot of chirping about it. If there were truly 590,000 people that put in $100 on this and never got anything, and still don't have anything yet, by the way, I imagine there'd be a lot more anger and many more people being vocal about it, because it has been, for the most part, pretty quiet. And they've been more than willing to let it stay that way, even like changing their terms about, like, if we ever even deliver a phone, if this phone that makes it to production, if you even get a phone, that kind of thing. So that was a really interesting thing that dropped, in addition to all of the terrible shit that came with all of this.
So I just wanted to let people know, as one of the people affected, this sucks. I wanted to get it fixed before going public about this. And now it looks like, unfortunately, we just have to report on this. If you're someone from the Trump Mobile team and you're wondering how this exploit works, you can get a hold of me. I've tried to get a hold of the US-based support team and have not received a word back. So, yeah, let's get this fixed.
Exactly. Let's get this fixed. Please. We're at the point now where we have to grovel and beg for them to fix a security vulnerability that is exposing their customers' sensitive information. All of it. This should be something that they take seriously and start to move on ASAP. Fingers crossed. Please. This whole fucking Trump Mobile thing, like this whole saga, this entire adventure, has been a bafflingly absurd journey. I just can't believe this shit is real. The state of things is fucking... Oh, it's rancid. Anyway, that's really about it. So, yeah.
Department of Defense has released hundreds of never-before-seen files on UFOs.
NASA transcripts from 4 years later are also part of this release.
After all the speculation, the hearsay, are we any closer to the truth?
I'm a little disappointed with the press, how they've treated this subject, because they're not doing their homework in ways they should. If they're going to be a responsible press, reporting on things not previously known, at one time perhaps mysterious, but upon being known, I'd expect to hear that, and I don't. So I thought I'd jump in. The Pentagon files that were released included documents, of course, not only from the US military, but also from NASA. NASA spends time in space, and if aliens are gonna come from anywhere, it's probably gonna be from space. I get that, but those NASA documents were never classified. A. B, what the astronauts were seeing would have a complete, full, rational explanation, but you have to read the transcript to see and understand why, which I'll detail in a moment. But the fact that they were released juxtaposed with other files where people see unidentified anomalous phenomena, don't know what it is, then it's almost guilt by association. So I thought that was a little misleading. A little misleading. So what were these flashes that the astronauts saw? In modern astrophysics, we know that there are phenomena in the universe that accelerate particles and cast them out into space at near the speed of light. These are called cosmic rays. These move through space. They come from the center of our galaxy. They come from the center of other galaxies. They come from supernovae, wherever they are in the universe. When they impinge upon our atmosphere, they bust open atoms and molecules, creating a cascade of other particles that slowly work their way down to Earth's surface. How do I know this? Other than that there are research papers on it. I've worked on mountaintops where I got most of my PhD thesis data, observing through telescopes. And you always had to take multiple exposures of your target object. Why? Because cosmic rays will hit your digital detector and light up pixels within it. But it doesn't do it to the same pixel for all of your pictures. So you want to take at least 3 images of your object. You look through the 3 images, and if any one of those pixels was blown out, you don't use that pixel from that image. And then you average the rest, or take the median of the rest. And this way you systematically remove the effects of cosmic rays on your data. This is routine. We do this all the time. Every observation at a telescope has a built-in system to free the image of cosmic rays that have hit it. The particles that hit my detector, those are much lower energy particles after the original particle got all divided up and scattered and cascaded to become many, many more lower energy particles by the time it hits the ground. When you've left Earth, there's no atmosphere to provide such protection for you. We would learn among the Apollo astronauts, who were the first astronauts to leave Earth for a destination. They would see flashes of light. They would just see it with their eyes open and with their eyes closed. Evidence that something is getting triggered on their retina, just like what was happening in my CCD photos at the telescope on mountaintops. So it's evidence that something's happening internal to the eye, but you still want to know what's causing it. So they decided, let's create a helmet for you that has detectors on it for cosmic rays. And if a cosmic ray triggers your helmet, at the same time you see a flash, there's hard evidence that you are seeing the interaction of cosmic rays with your retina and not some mysterious cosmic alien force trying to get inside your head. Sure enough, that's exactly what was observed. The Apollo light flash moving emulsion device, ALFMED. Did I get that right? I think I did. ALFMED. The emulsion, by the way, would be the detector. So ALFMED gave convincing evidence that when their helmet detected a flash of light, so did their eyes. It's one thing for it to trigger flashes of light, but that's not the real concern here. These particles are entering their bodies and could mess with your DNA. You can break apart complex molecules within your body, within your brain. So yeah, it's one thing to see flashes of light, but we really want to get to the bottom of this medically. What is the long-term effects of being out there exposed in space? So the transcripts reveal rather explicitly that you have the astronauts constantly reporting on these flashes. By the way, there are some adjectives in there, bright as a headlight. Bright as a headlight, that sounds like there's some craft that's out there. And if you just take that comment out of context, it's like, what are they experiencing? But in the framing of the sentences that precede it and follow it, it is clear that it is simply more communication with mission control about flashes of light. These looked a little different from other flashes of light, so that they can be corroborated or not with the ALFMED experiment that's happening on their helmets. They would even take pictures of themselves wearing the helmet, orienting the helmet, to verify with mission control that the data taking was happening as expected and as instructed. There were other lights. For example, one report was that there were lights outside of the craft that reminded them of the 4th of July. I'm presuming fireworks on the 4th of July. The fireworks were not explicitly stated in the transcript. What's going on there? Well, first of all, the Apollo capsule is not completely clad with transparent windows. There are only windows sticking out in like one direction, okay? Ahead of them from where they're seated, but you don't have a 360 couple of view the way they do in the space station when they added this bubble glass